Hey there guys, welcome back to Diesel Creek. If you're new, my name is Matt. Behind me is my 1957 Autocar semi-truck. Now I've had this truck almost 2 years now and I still have not gotten to drive this truck. I did start it up for the first time. When I bought it, it hadn't run in 15 or 16 years, but I did get it to start and it fired up pretty good. There's a video of that right up here, and if you don't see it, it's down below. So that was a good time, and I was really excited when it started, and I tried to drive it then. Now the rear end had been froze whenever I got it. I think the brakes were just stuck from it sitting so long. Drums will tend to do that. Now when I got it running, I did break the rear end loose, just forward and reverse, and eventually the rear end started spinning, but it was just so muddy out here when I did it that I couldn't drive it anywhere. So here we are 8 months later, something like that. 8 months later, I want to drive this thing. So today, we're going to get it fired up, get it driving. So anyway, here's the state of the old Autocar at the moment. And I have not got to work on it this summer like I had planned, but I did get a lot of other things done. And right now, I'm going to work on getting the floor put in this building, but that's unrelated to this video you are watching. Right now, we're going to try and get this thing fired up and drive it out of here so that I can do the floor. But this thing has not been started since the last video was recorded. I don't remember when that was. It was sometime during the winter. I want to say that was maybe January, and it was very cold. It's summertime now, so I'm hoping she just fires right up. I did have to use a little bit of ether when I started it last time, but this time, hopefully we don't have to go that route. But she had not been started in, what, 16 years or 13 years, something like that. I'm gonna get her fired up and see if we can't pull it out of here. The rear end was locked up in it the last time, as I said. Everybody keeps telling me, oh, well, your spring cans are stuck on, your spring cans. You need air pressure to build up air pressure before the brakes will release. Not true, people. On trucks this old, they did not have spring-assisted brakes. If you guys can see the air cans up there, I'm not sure if you can. Yeah. Those are just regular old pancake-type cans. Those have no safety springs in them. And trucks this old, if you didn't have air pressure, you didn't have brakes. So that's why you used to see all those runaway truck ramps and everything all over the old highways. And that's why tractor trailer runaways and rollovers were such a big problem back in the day. So spring brakes are awesome and definitely a big safety improvement for modern equipment. But old girls like this, they don't have such luxuries. So I think the brakes were just stuck because it had sat for so long. It was stuck when I got it. I drug it back here. When I fired it up, I was able to get them to break loose a little bit, but it was just so muddy when I started it then, it wouldn't move. So it's dry today. If we get it running, it should just drive right out of here, I hope. We'll see. Okay, let's bum some batteries from this old girl. How tough is a gear wrench socket set? That tough. It is worth mentioning that I have had great luck with gear wrench tools, not paid or sponsored by them in any way. Although if you guys are watching from Gear Wrench, no, really, they kind of remind me of Snap-on tools in the fit, finish, and feel, and they don't have near the sticker shock. Oh, that's gonna make my hands feel great in 20 years. So these batteries were in this machine when I got it. They've always held a good charge. And until this moment, I didn't know what brand they were. Prestolite. Okay, well that's a good brand. Oh man, I tell you what, you want a good workout, you carry around 2 of these things for a couple hours every day. Good God, you'll get a workout. Shoo, buddy. Now these terminals are all corroded so bad that they're broken and everything else. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing this time that I did last time that you guys all yelled at me for. And I'm just gonna give these a little tappy tap tap to seat them down on there. Make them nice and happy. That guy's broken right half in two. It's not like I'm beating on them, I'm just tapping them. The poster taper, they wedge themselves on. That's fine. All right, well, she's hooked up. Maybe she'll go. Guess before we go trying to crank her up, I should probably pull the cover I put off the intake. Yeah, I should probably wouldn't want to start with a rag and some duct tape on the intake. I don't usually like that kind. And I guess I'll check the oil too. I'm sure it's exactly where it was when I left it. It doesn't seem to leak any. Engine's nice and dry looking. Oh yeah, plenty of oil. And I already checked the coolant too. It's good enough for what we're doing. Urgh. That's where that rag went. Been looking for that. All right, let's give her. We'll go ahead and hopefully she fires off with no assistance. It's a 180 naturally aspirated Cummins. I'm going to bring you guys in here for a close-up. I've seen some terminals arc out before and get a little warm, but that guy there let the lead out. I mean, she melted the post, I think, by the looks of it. That wasn't there a minute ago before I started cranking on it. But I think this guy here is really what did her. This side also took a little blow. So you guys go ahead and tell Derek over at Vice Grip Garage that I just stole his terminal clamps. We're going to get this clamped on here. Yep, that's a torqued terminal right there. I'm not so sure about this one, but that's the only pair of vice grips I got, so gotta make it work. So I got her spinning over, but now the problem I'm having is in the cab. You gotta pull a lever in there which pulls on this cable and move some linkages over here, and what that is a compression release. So you take all the compression away from the engine, then you crank it and you get her spinning good and fast, and then you hurry up and release the compression, and then it just slams her all at once and she pops off. And that really makes starting it a lot easier, but the trouble I'm having is I pull this thing and it releases compression and I let go of it and it's not springing back. So we're just going to give her a little bit of lubrication here and hope she helps her out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just lube everything, real liberal like. Let's try her again. See that? This thing still isn't springing my thing in backwards, so go ahead and lube this thing up some more. Hopefully we can get her, keep from sticking. I think it's actually in here in this thing. Problem. Might need to give her a little tappy tap tap. All right. I seem to have gotten her freed up pretty good there. So I think we're ready for take 3. Is this take 3? I don't even remember. You guys better keep count. I can't. All right, here we go again. for the first time under her own power since I've owned it. And the first time in 13 years, I believe. "15 years, my mistake. I had to look at my own videos to get that for sure. So heck, we come this far. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and take it for a little cruise. And of course, I'll take you guys with me. Well, the neighbor heard the ruckus and he stopped down to do some BSing and take a look at the rig, so I shut her down. We'll fire it back up and get on our merry way with our little tour de farm. Just drove through the back of the shop here. I've got it in second gear and direct drive, and I'm gonna have to keep a little bit of momentum up going through this spot here because it is a little bit wet, so I hope we don't get stuck. And everybody asked to hear the horn. It doesn't make any noise yet. It's got a bunch of mud bee nests packed up in the horn, so I have to clear that out and then we'll hit it. Granddaddy always used to tell me, you can't find them, grind them. Ah, there she goes. That's reverse. We're not going to fill it up, but I'll put a 5 or 10 gallon in it. Just something to really freshen her up, you know. If I had some ATF out here, I'd probably dump a quart of ATF in there too, but I don't have any. Couple little dings here in the roof we gotta pop out. See if we can't get them wasp nests out of there and get this thing back to honking. I cleaned it out. She still don't honk though. I bet you the diaphragm and the horn end is probably messed up. I'll have to take it apart and clean it. See if she'll start with no compression release. Oh yeah. Easy as pie, baby. All right, let's go. Just go for a friggin' drive. think about that, boys? I am tickled to death with that. Oh man, I'm gonna have a blast with this truck. I love it. You got that big old wheel up there. I mean, it's got to be almost 2.5 foot across, the big wheel on that thing. I backed it up here to the low boy. The low boy has not moved since I bought it. The company I had that dropped it off dropped it right there, and I don't have a way to move it. I could probably drag it around with a dozer if I had to, but there's no sense. It ain't hurting anything there. It's just killing a little bit of grass that the cows don't get to eat, but they'll get over it. There's plenty else for them there. But I tell you what, this fifth wheel plate hasn't been hitched to anything, and well, at least as long as the truck's been sitting. So 16 years without being greased or oiled or probably moved. So if I slammed this thing under there and it latched, I'd probably play hell to get it unlatched. So I'm just going to hold up on that operation. That'll come in another video. Probably going to have to take that fifth wheel plate completely off of there and take it all apart, clean up all the pieces and get it lubed up good, grease the living crap out of it. And then yeah, we'll be ready to Billy Big Rig. How do you think about that? Oh boys, I am just so excited. I caught the side of the trailer with the stinking skid steer the other day. I was trying to mow up close to this thing and the track hooked on it and I just ended up getting stuck against it. Oh, I was upset. This paint really was pristine on this trailer and I just scratched the crap out of it. That's some good paint too. That stuff doesn't rust there. I tell you what, she's going to be a good looking combination though. I think this trailer is going to be nicely matched for that old tractor. Man, that's a piece of history right there. Get me all geeked up. Generally, when you're running an old rig like this that hasn't been driven for a while, especially because the brakes were stuck on it, you know, you get her running and you start to drive her, you really don't want to hit that old brake pedal up there because you could just lock the brakes right up and she won't be moving at all. And then you'll really be taking something apart and kind of cussing yourself. But, you know, you start driving around a little bit like I have here and I kind of just, you know, forgot. You ever forget? It happened to me. And I kind of stabbed the old brake pedal there, and lo and behold, she seems to be working. I've hit them, I don't know, 4 or 5 times now, and they stop you, and they actually seem like they release. They don't really get stuck, so that's pretty impressive. I mean, I wouldn't call them roadworthy, but heck, I'll take them around the farm worthy. All right, guys, that was about as fun as I imagined it would be. I'm pretty stoked to have driven this thing finally. I've had it for over a year, and it hasn't been driven yet, but finally fired her up and got her to stretch her legs a little bit, and she acts like she's, you know, with a few minor checks and some tires, I think this thing would be, but of course lights, I think she'd probably run right down the road just fine. Nothing feels crazy wonky or out of place. I mean, she's obviously going to need a lot of going through and going over, and I'm sure a lot of little TLC things, but I think most of the damage to this truck is cosmetic. I really don't think there's anything too mechanically wrong with it. In the next video we do on this thing, we'll probably completely change all the fluids, go through the brakes, check the wheel bearings out, U-joints, I mean all the little basic things. Make sure the gearboxes all got proper, well, I said change the lubricants. We'll go through the gearboxes too. Everything. The horn started working there at the end. For those of you that haven't seen the other videos of this truck or heard me talk about this truck in previous videos, I bought an Autocar because A, I really like the styling. I think they are just fantastic looking old school trucks. When I think of old school truck, and I really doesn't, this is kind of the pinnacle. This and the old needle nose Peterbilts, Kenworths, those were some awesome trucks. But you know, you see a lot of those. You see a ton of B model Max. You don't see very many of these. So consequently, it did take me a while to find one. But when I found one, I bought it. This came from Easton, Maryland when I got it, and it hadn't run in 15, 16 years. So brought it home here, and it's been sitting where it's awaiting a restoration. Awaiting because I need to get my shop here kind of more shop-like before I can really start tearing into it. But another reason I went with one of these trucks was because my grandfather used to drive one back in the day. He got one of these trucks brand new. He didn't own it, it was the company he worked for, but it was his truck. He brought it home, he polished it in the driveway all the time and everything. I never met my grandfather, but I saw all the pictures and stuff growing up, my uncle sitting on the bumpers and stuff like that, so it was just kind of cool to have that family tie to something like this. If I was going to buy one, why not buy one that has a little bit more meaning to it? So that's where we're at. Eventually this thing is going to get a full restoration, I hope. The cab, pretty rough. Probably try to locate a new cab for it, but if all else fails, we will be doing lots of patching and body work. But anyways, guys, I think that's all for this video. If you like the video, don't forget to hit a big old thumbs up for this Autocar. Helps the channel out a lot. It makes me proud, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because there's going to be a lot more videos coming down the pike on this truck. This isn't a super high priority for me, so I don't get to work on it as much time as I would like. There's a lot of other projects that have to come first. Getting the shop done, definitely one of them, because we can't really work on this thing until I get a floor in there and the roof finished and everything else. But you know, when I have the time, this is my for fun projects, so I don't get to do those nearly as often, but they are coming, they are in the works. They're always, whenever I get the time, I'm going to do them. So you guys ask all the time, and I can't really do anything more than I can do, but I appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.